We're going to look at how to do the squat properly. Squatting is a great movement that we need to do every day for all basic activities. So regardless of whether you are placing a bar onto your back and squatting, or you're doing a squat holding onto dumbbells or a ball, or just doing the laundry and squatting down to pick the basket up properly. All of these movements are the same movement, and they require us to stabilize our entire body. And honestly, I've seen people injure themselves with lots of weight on their back, but I've also seen people injure themselves picking up a very lightweight, again, such as a laundry basket. And both times people question why, and it often comes down to poor form and poor stabilization. So, lots of things to consider. We're going to start by actually looking at the upper body. So when people squat down, sometimes you get this type of a posture where you get this really rounded back. What I want to see in a squat is that we keep our spine nice and straight. So I like to take a dowel or a straight stick and place it on my back or on my client's back, and then standing tall, you should have 3 points of contact. One at the head, one at the mid back, and then one at your bum or lower back. And as you squat down, you should maintain contact with your rod the entire time. All right, so if you are bending or caving at your spine, you're going to lose contact. Again, you really want to pay attention to arching your low back, keeping your chin tucked in and head neutral. And beginning with this, you will learn to develop proper posture when squatting. Many people that have difficulty with this should just begin with small movements. So you do not have to find perfection going into the deepest position. The deeper you go on any exercise, the harder it is to stabilize. So you're getting better when you can do it properly and you're going deeper into that squat movement. Next thing I want to take a look at is when you squat, what is your hip and your knee placement like? Again, I've seen many people, as they squat down, those knees travel forward, the hips barely move at all, and this places a lot of strain on the knees. So when we're squatting, we want to begin with a really good hip hinge. Just stick your butt out. Begin that squat with a really good hip hinge, sticking your hips out back far behind you, and that will allow you to go deeper without moving your knees in front of your toes. The first tip I talked about was about squatting and maintaining a straight spine, and some people do this wonderfully, but an error I observe when they squat is actually, even though the spine is straight, they are leaning too far forward. And this is almost like a deadlift position or a bent over row position. This is not what we want in a squat. So the tibia-torso relationship states that when you squat down, the angle of your torso should be the same angle as your tibia. So you take a look at the two parallel lines made between my tibia and my torso. So find that straight spine, stick your hips back, and then once you've leaned forward enough, the increased depth comes by lowering your hips. One last little tip is your knee placement. Now, you can have your feet angled outwards if you like. For some people, that feels better. You can also have your toes pointing forward. And honestly, you should actually be good at both. One is not better than the other. What is best is that you can do it both ways comfortably. Regardless of where your toes are pointing, your knees must point in the same direction as you drop deeper into your squat. So if my toes are pointing forward, then when I squat down, I want my knees to also be pointing forward. If my toes are slightly turned outwards, then when I squat, my knees will also follow with my toes. So your knees should always be over your toes or just over your toes, not extending past your toes. And they should also be angling the same direction as your toes. And this all works the same muscles, just different fibers of the muscles. What I have found in the past is that people are more comfortable doing one direction over the other direction. And then what I end up doing, I make them practice what they're not good at, because in the end, that will make you better. Now, all of this is going to take practice, so don't feel overwhelmed if that's a lot of information and you're not getting it all right away. Practice one thing at a time. Take stage 1 of this video and practice that, and try a little bit of stage 2. Once you feel more comfortable with stage 1, then practice more of stage 2, then move into stage 3, and then put it all together. It's always easiest to begin learning new form with no weight. So do a bunch of body weight squats. Take this exercise of learning how to do it properly and put it into your gym routines. I'm not saying stop squatting or do everything drastically differently, but this is a nice safe way to squat, and you don't even have to be in your workout to practice these movements. Just do them whenever you have a moment, whenever you think about it. More repetitions will create quicker success.